Alright, hey guys, Mitch here, and oops. I am going over a musical dice, a fun way to explore music theory. This is a little concept that I came up with. I came up with it a while ago, but I'm just now really getting into making a video about it, and I'm going to do some of my own musical dice exploration videos to where I just take and roll the dice, get the tempo, get the key and the scale, set a timer, and just play around with for 10 minutes and see what I can come up with in a particular key or scale. And so the concept is basically just roll some dice and allow the dice to pick the tempo and the key and the mode. That way you can get more experience with different modes and scales and tempos. The tempo could be optional, depending on if you want to, actually, set a timer and do something. But, and also if you're just learning, it may be helpful if you just focus on the major and minor scales first. And so you could roll the dice and odd be major, even be minor. And that would help on that until you get more familiar with major and minor, and then you can dive into some of the other modes. But just basically want to help people explore music theory and improve their musical chops. And a little backstory, at one point whenever I first started learning guitar up until probably recently, I realized at probably my mid-20s that I needed to learn music theory, but just life events, I didn't have time to really dive into it. So here recently, past few years, I have dove into it. But when I was first learning guitar, I thought that if I learned music theory, then it would take away all creativity. But that's not the case at all. It actually probably helps the creative process because you know where to go, where you can go, and what rules you can break. As opposed to just not knowing anything, you don't know where to go, you're just chomping, just flying around loosey-goosey. So, things you'll need: a few 6-sided dice. 2 will be sufficient. If you have more multicolored, then you can do it all in one fell swoop. You can roll all 5 and just pair them up and get your tempo and your mode and your key all at the same time. A little bit knowledge of music theory will help. I'll plan on going over more of the music theory, or plan on going over some music theory at the end of this video. And then just some time to explore that key. That's all you need. So the rules, there's really no rules. Just roll the dice and have fun. I do have a few thoughts on exploring, how you can explore it. I mentioned earlier, set a timer, similar to like the Against the Clock videos. But have it in mind of, I'm going to create something with that particular scale. Or I'm going to just play around with that scale and see what I can come up with in 10 minutes. Or you could, I thought of this earlier today whenever I was making this keynote presentation. You could use it as kind of like the scale of the day or scale of the week. And so you could roll and get your mode and scale of the week. And then that would be the scale that you focused on when you practiced. Or when you were just, pulling up Gadget, making, a beat or musical whatever. You could put in that particular scale, play it on your keyboard or whatever, and you just get familiar with how you can use that scale in different ways. And so that's basically it. So what key or root note? So you'd basically just roll 2 dice and match up the value of the dice with the corresponding note, and that would be your root note. So I just rolled a 6, and so it would be F. I put 1 on there because you can't roll 1 and C. C is all the white notes, and so this would be more trying to get people away from playing only in the key of C. And I know modern keyboards have that nice transpose option to transpose the keys to whatever you want to and play in the root of C, but if you're sitting behind a real actual piano looking for the transpose button, then you have some problems. So that's why I like to learn all or as most of the keys and be familiar, at least familiar with them. And so if there is no transpose button, then I can still play something. Okay, so the a la mode, you got, these are the 6 modes. There is 7. There's one called Locrian, I think. It's a diminished mode, and it's kind of diminished and weird, and I don't know much about it, and so I'm not going to put it on there. But if you are familiar with, if you're really familiar with major, you could easily just slide all these over, or you could change the Ionian major to the Locrian mode, or vice versa. You could switch it out. That way it would end up in the shuffle and you could learn about it. Tempo, again, this would just be 1 dice, roll a dice, and the corresponding 1 through 6 would be the mode that you're in. The tempo, roll 2 dice, and I got a 4, so I'll do somewhere between 80 and 89 BPM would be where I'd want to try to play at. This right here is going to help me because I don't do anything usually 140, 150, 160 range, and usually I don't go in the 60s and 70s range. I usually stay between 80 and 130, and I think that's most pop songs and a lot of songs are in that range. But I think it's fun. It'll be fun to explore these other BPMs as well. Okay, so that's basically it on the game. So you roll the dice. These are the different charts. I can make a Google Doc if need be. Just let me know in the comments if you want me to make a Google Doc with these on it so you can download them, print them out, or whatever. I will be happy to do that. As of right now, I don't have that done, but it'll be pretty easy to copy and paste. Okay, so now I'm going to go into very basic music theory. Just don't cover some scales, chords, and the modes in a basic manner. So, a scale is a set of musical notes that will go together based on a pattern or interval. And let me pull up a keyboard so you can see what I'm playing. Oh, and it went away. Okay, so I think that's covering my face, but it'll be okay. So a scale is a set of musical notes in a particular pattern. And so like C, that's C major. And then, so there's the intervals are, that would be 1 semitone. So each step going up chromatically, which would be playing every note, would be 1 step at a time. It'd be 1 semitone. Or it'd be 1 semitone, not a step, because a step is a whole step and a half step. So this is 1 semitone or a half step. And then from C to C sharp is a half a step or 1 semitone. From C to D is a whole step or 2 semitones. And so the major scale, the formula for it is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So you go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And then with the minor scale, it's the 6th mode of the major scale. And so in this case, A minor is the relative major, and it is also all the white keys. And so you'd find the A, and then you go whole, half, whole, half, whole. And that'll give you the minor scale. So that's basically what a scale is just anything that's any set of notes that are together based on pattern or intervals. These are all 7 notes scales. I'm in the US, so that's what we use. I know other parts of the world have some crazy scales and all kind of weird stuff. I haven't got into any of that yet, but this is just basic theory. So a chord is a group of notes. These are all my definitions, by the way. Very layman's terms. A group of notes played together. So there's a chord. That's a chord. It's a chord. You know, all those are chords. It's just when you play a group of notes together, it's a chord. And a major chord is the first, third, and the fifth. And so when you're looking at a scale, you have the 1, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so you take the 1, the 1, the 3rd, and the 5th. And that makes the chord. That's pretty much all chords are built on this 1/3, 5th pattern. D, E, I mean even the minors, there's 1/3 and 5th, it's just you're flat in the 3rd. And so just like a C major, you take the 3rd and you bring it down a semitone or a half step, or you flat it, and that makes the minor. So C major, C minor, E minor, E major. If I want to go from an E minor to an E major, I would sharp or go up one semitone to the A sharp to make it an E major, as opposed to an E minor. Okay, and so then major scale, the chords in a major scale are laid out like minor or major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And then the minor scale is minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major. So hopefully that makes sense. So the chords in the C major would be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and back to C. And it would be the same exact notes in the A minor scale, except for they would just be ordered different, because you'd have A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. Okay? Alright, so when you're looking at a mode, you are looking at a scale, but you're changing the home key, the home bass. So in the C major scale, C is the root, it's the home, it's where you want to land, it's where you want to stay, it's where you're going to come back to. Just like baseball, you start out at home plate, you hit a home run, you run all first, second, third, and you're back to home plate. You're always trying to get back home. And so whenever you change the mode of a particular scale, you change the tonality of it. And so if you take, so let me just read, a mode is an alternate scale based on a major scale but starting on a different note. And so if you take all the white keys, you got the key of C, and you move it up to D, then you'd go D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, which is not either D major or D minor scale, it's D Dorian, because it's based on C, and it's the second note in C major. Hopefully that made sense. And so you just take the root note and just move it up one, and that would get you to D Dorian, and then you move it up again, it would get you in E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian or minor, and then B Locrian or diminished, back to C. Okay, and then so you just change the tonality, and that's why C major. And if you take the C major scale, started on A, you get an A minor, because A minor is the relative minor of C major. And it's A Aeolian, which is the sixth mode of the scale. It's the sixth mode of the C major scale. And so here's D major. broken up into its different. It's not the D major modes. It's taken the D major scale, and these are the relative modal equivalents. And so D, you got E Dorian, you got F sharp Phrygian, and so on. And so you're basically just changing the root, and it gives you a different feel, different flavor. When you start out, say in G Phrygian, you will still have, let's see, you'll still be G major, but then you'll go to, you can go to different chords, and so the 1, 4, 5, like a basic a favorite song structure, go from the 1 to the 5 to the 4 back to the 1, so go from the 1 to the 4 to the 5. And so when you move that, it changes the 1, 4, and 5. And you can still do 1, 4, and 5, but it changes the structure of the song and the feel of the song, and it changes it into a different key. And so I think doing this may be a better way of showing how each of the modes sound. So C Ionian is definitely, it's major, it's happy. No accidentals, no flats or sharps. And then when you move to C Dorian, it's almost minor. It's almost a C Aeolian if you look at the notes. So you got C, D, E flat, G, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C. And if you look at the C Aeolian, C, D, E flat, G, E flat, F, G, A flat. So the A is different, but everything else is the same. And so it's a very minor sounding chord or scale. And that flat third right there really gives it away as far as being, when you come back to home, you're going to be in a minor home. Same with Phrygian. Very minor. But when you get to Lydian, well, that's a lot more major. You got a major chord. And then same with Mixolydian. And so it just gives a different feel for the chords, for the mood of the song. I watched a really good video on lynda.com. I had a free subscription for a while, and there's a dude on there that does a really good job at going through all the different modes and giving song examples of the different modes, and kind of talking about each of the modes, and kind of how they're used. But so yeah, that's all the different modes. And if you'll notice, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, they are major. This is more of a minor, a major, a minor diminished. Looks a lot like the major scale. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And so even everything, it's one of the things that I like about music is everything's patterns. Patterns here, patterns there. Patterns are everywhere. And so you have more of a minor feel, a major, and a minor. As far as the kind of a feel. Now you can get, there's different aspects of the modes, and this is just a high level overview of it. But anyway, hopefully this helps shed some light, a little bit of the music theory, and hopefully you guys will take this dice game and have fun with it. If you do anything, leave a comment below with a link to your video or SoundCloud or whatever. Hit me up on Twitter at TheAudioDabbler. I finally got a Twitter account for my AudioDabbler YouTube channel. And I will talk to you guys later.